Dear learners, welcome to Swayam NPTEL course on Library Automation and Networking. I am Dr. Girish Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Benares Hindu University, Varanasi. So this particular course is having 8 modules and which is designed for 8 weeks. So we will be discussing more about library automation and networking in this particular course. So this particular course, the first module will be discussing more about library automation, and the second module will be discussing more about housekeeping operations, and the third will be integrated library management system or integrated library systems, and the fourth module will be talking about retrospective conversion, and then we will go for library automation and networking, and then there will be a library consortia, and finally we will be talking about computerized information systems, internet resources and digital resources. So dear learners, as we know that computers have made a revolutionary changes in the case of libraries. So when we talk about traditional library system, as we know that we don't have computers and we didn't even have the systems. So the problem was initially when we talk about libraries were storehouse of books. Rather than issuing of books, people used to keep it as a books as it is like a storehouse where people can come and see from like a museum, how do we see the books. But the invention of computers and the internet technologies, which has been considerably changed the way in which the libraries activities, services, and how the way we are providing the information to the users in different formats, and how we are capable to make them aware that these are the information available through various means. So these are all the technological changes, or we can say that the transformation which has happened from the traditional, or we will say that conventional libraries to contemporary libraries or modern libraries. So dear learners, so in this particular session we will be learning more about library automation and networking. So when we talk about library automation, this particular session is completely dedicated to library automation, where we will be talking about library automation, its basics, its concepts, meaning, and how this particular library automation has come, like historical aspects within India and the other countries, and we will be talking more about all the advantages, generations, etc. So as the first session, so we will be more concentrating on the basics of automation, library automation, and how the library automation is happening in the present scenario. So I hope you will listen to this particular session and enjoy learning, and I wish all the success to all the participants who are just enrolled for this particular course for successfully completing this particular course. So with this introduction, let's start the particular section on basics of library automation. So before going to the library automation, let's see what is an automation. So I will just outline, these are the things which we are going to discuss in this particular session. So in this particular module, we will be discussing more about introduction to library automation. So that means we will be discussing more about automation, then we will be having the details about library automation, and then basics of library automation, concepts and meaning of library automation, and definitions of library automation. As we know that many people have given their own definitions, and there are some standard definitions which are given by like scholars or eminent scholars, experts, as well as some kind of the encyclopedias or dictionaries, etc. They have also given some standard definitions which we are able to follow as a definition of library automation, and then we will conclude with the present scenario in the automation side. Dear learners, when we talk about automation, so automation is something like, as a layman we can understand that it is the application of computers in a particular field. It can be anything to perform a particular task. Even in the similar way, when you talk about automation in other industries, so there are many applications and there are many things which we need to learn from the applications, activities, process, and even the services also. So automated operations considerably reduce the effort of human being, and it improves the performance, accuracy, reliability, consistency and productivity, and which saves a lot of time for the individuals, as when we talk about a work which is very repetitive in nature. The application of computers, ICT, to perform each and every activity in a human life becomes a common scenario where it minimizes the human input. So as we know that when we talk about automation, it is a cost-effective application where we can use for getting a particular work, which is especially like administrative work or repetitive labor works or clerical works. When we use such kind of an automation process, the workload can be reduced. That means the staff can get a lot of time by saving such kind of a repetitive works, so that the person or the librarian can use such kind of constructive time for some other qualitative services. So being a cost-effective mechanism which largely eliminate paper-based processes, so automation is embraced by manufacturing industry, healthcare, human resource, finance, technology, infrastructure development, and so on. So if libraries are to fulfill their objective, they need to be automated in the present networks society. As we know that the landscape of library and information centers has been considerably changed after the invention of computers, information and communication technology, internet technologies, digital technologies, and so on and so forth. So today we will be discussing more about the automation process which has happened in the previous time. Like we know that when there were no computers, we used to have, especially in the libraries, we used to have card cataloging, typewriters, punch cards, etc., etc. And even the libraries were working as in a closed access where users have no access to libraries, so they used to go to the librarian and ask for the librarian for a particular book, whereas that particular librarian will take the book on behalf of that particular user and then hand over to the library users, where we don't have any access to such kind of information. It is simply like a storehouse of knowledge or information where people used to keep it in the libraries. But the scenario has been completely changed by the automation process. So in this particular module, as we know that when we talk about library automation, libraries are non-profit organizations where we do some kind of a service and activities for the users, especially for getting their particular demand fulfilled. So the recognition of a particular library is largely depends on the user's feedback. As we know that how much you are able to give for a user in terms of their information requirement, as we know that they may ask for a print copy, they may ask for an online copy, sometimes some users may ask for more services and activities which cannot be always accepted or which cannot be always anticipated by a particular library. So in terms of library automation, so we do process such kind of a requirement in terms of, libraries always adopt various tools, techniques, and technologies to provide better services to its users. The role of library professionals are more challenging than before due to technological advancement. So the library professionals have to cope up with the technologies, either in terms of library automation or in terms of digital technologies or in terms of information communication and even the technologies which are of digital related. So the librarian and the library staff should have a clear idea about how these services can be rendered to the users by applying all these technologies. So unless until you keep update yourself with the technological changes happening around you, you will not be able to provide a better service to the users. So when we talk about library automation in that sense, as we know that whether you are working in any of the libraries, like we can categorize them as educational institutions libraries like in university library, college libraries, or even school libraries, and there are libraries like special libraries or research libraries or even public libraries. So wherever the category of library you are working, the situation of information requirement is changes from users to users. So we need to provide such kind of a services and resources to the users when we are there in a particular library. So the situation when it comes, the changes when the particular library is automated or non-automated. The advantages what we have in an automated library is completely different from a non-automated library where we will not be able to provide a quality services to the users, especially at the present scenario where the technological advancements are more. So as a basic thing, so we know that library is a non-profit organization, and if you take the components of a particular library, we have staff, we have users, we have infrastructure. So when we talk about machines, the library automation which comes under that particular part, that we use some kind of machines or technologies to provide a better services and information to the users. So automation is encompassing virtually every walk of human life. So when we talk about automation, so which is simply the use of computer or technology to perform a particular task where the involvement of human assistance will be less. The term automation is now prevalent in all the sectors such as industries, healthcare, agriculture, communication, education, etc. And the word automation has been derived from automos. It is a Greek word which means something which has the power of spontaneous motion or self-movement. So dictionary meaning of automation is something different, which we call it as the technique of making an apparatus, a process or a system which operates automatically. In other way, automation is defined as the creation and application of technology to monitor and control the production and delivery of products and services. Automation is applicable in all the areas of manufacturing, and we also know that there are some standards which we follow in each and every time where there is an advancement in the library automation process, or especially when we talk about automation process. So these are all some of the definitions of automations given by encyclopedias and library associations. So according to Encyclopedia of Library and Information Science, the automation is a technology which concerned with the design and development of process and system that minimize the necessity of human intervention in operation. The performance of an operation, a series of operations or a process by self-activating, self-controlling or automatic means. Automation implies the use of automatic data processing equipment such as computer or other labor-saving devices, which is the definition given by American Library Association Glossary of Library and Information Science. And we can see one more definition given by McGraw-Hill Encyclopedia of Science and Technology, which talks about automation is a term without a precise technical meaning, but widely used to describe machines and systems that are highly automated. And according to Oxford English Dictionary, application of automatic control to any branch of industry or science, by extension, the use of electronic or mechanical devices to replace human labor, what we call it as automation. So when we talk about library automation, as we know that automation is something related to machines or computers or technologies. It can be information and communication technology in the present scenario. But when we talk about library automation, we have the idea that it is something like automating the activities of a library. So when we talk about libraries, as we know that we have many operations, many activities in the libraries, which we collectively call it as housekeeping operations or housekeeping activities. As we know that when we talk about housekeeping activities, we have different sections, different divisions or different units in the library. So that can be categorized under circulation, serials control, maintenance, or even the statistics or even reports, etc. And we have, apart from this, there are many other small services or the areas to provide specific services, like the services for the services like photocopy services or reprographic services, binding services or consultancy services, etc., etc. When we talk about library automation, all these aspects are very much related to the housekeeping operations of libraries. So that means we will be applying computers, technologies or internet or information and communication technology to these particular areas such as circulation, technical section, acquisition section, and even the other major areas like serials or periodical control, maintenance, statistics, etc. So why we need automation? If it is in the library or otherwise, there are some kind of enhancement in the library in terms of activities and services, and also we can reduce something which we very much require for the in the context of library also. So these are all some of the points where automation helps you in a larger way, like it enhances the productivity, accuracy, efficiency, quality of services, safety in working conditions, customer experience, collaboration and connectivity, data protection, standardization, growth and scalability. When it comes to reducing something, like it can largely reduce the human errors. Repetitive and monotonous tasks can be reduced, and as you know that the cost of action also can be reduced by automation. The wastage of time, we can save a lot of time in that way, so employees' workload also can be reduced, and then manuals, tedious and repetitive works can also be reduced by applying the computers, or when we talk about computerization, mechanization, or we collectively call it as automation. So let us clearly define what we mean by library automation. The concept of automation has changed the way in which libraries perform its activities and provide services to its users. When we talk about automation, so automating a library these days is not a privilege at all, but it is a necessity that each and every corner of activities we need to provide some kind of application of computers so that the users can get benefit out of that in a larger way. As we know that the demand, the requirement and the resource requirement of a user these days has been completely changed. So in order to meet their requirements and in order to make your services in anticipation, make your activities in anticipation, we need to do a lot of work. So which are some works which are repetitive in nature, where we can apply automation or the application of computers and information and communication technologies. There are some other qualitative area where we can provide more services to the users when you make repetitive work with the help of computers. So advent of computers and various applications in libraries made them organize their contents in a systematic way and to provide quality services. Each aspects of a library operation have to be automated to effectively manage the library and efficiently serve the users. So when we talk about library automation, so just look back like 5 decades back, where there were no computers. How do we do the housekeeping operations, or how do we do the activities which are happening in the library? Say for example, when you do some kind of a activity which are related to circulation, so we need to have some kind of a mechanism for that to get book issued and registered, or even the reminders, renewals, return, etc. So we need to have a register for that. It can be either ledger system or daily register system, whatever you follow, but it is a kind of a repetitive work where we are having too much of effort, and too much of time will be wasted in that way. So when we talk about basics of library automation, library operations were manual and time consuming before the advent of computers. So libraries started using computers and technologies for its smooth functioning in terms of its activities and services. Libraries extensively use computers to replace the manual systems, to better manage the library activities and provide effective services to its users. So such technologies adopted have improved user experience and empower them to perform self-services in the library. So in simple words, library automation is the application of computers to perform traditional housekeeping activities such as technical processing, acquisition, circulation, serial control or periodical control, maintenance, and statistics and reports also, and also generating reports and statistics and handling other administrative activities. So let us discuss about the concept and meaning of library automation in short. So library automation may be defined as the application of computers to perform traditional library housekeeping activities in an easy way that we have already discussed. So automation is used to reduce the amount of staff time devoted to repetitive and often less challenging activities that must be done in any properly functioning library. It is to be remembered that various library operations are automated, not the library as such. In many cases, when we ask someone whether your library is automated, they say that our library is completely automated. So what do you mean by this completely automated? So there are libraries, they used to have only the circulation as automated. And there are many areas like when we call it as housekeeping operations. So once you do automation in all the procedures where the housekeeping operation load of a particular staff has been completely reduced, then only we can say that we have been completely automated our libraries. Otherwise, only a portion of the library activity has been automated in that sense. So through automation, human intervention in functioning of a particular library can be minimized as it uses hardware, software, and technologies. So similarly, like automation, we have some standard definition for library automation also, which is given time to time, so as the technological changes are happening. So based on that, Encyclopedia of Library and Information Science define library automation as it is the technology concerned with the design and development of process and system that minimize the necessity of human intervention in library operations. It is the performance of an operation, a series of operations, or a process by self-activating, self-controlling, or automatic means. Automation implies the use of automatic data processing equipment such as computer or other labor-saving devices, which is given by American Library Association Glossary of Library and Information Science. And another definition given by International Encyclopedia of Information Technology and Library Science, which define library automation is the technology concerned with the design and development of process and system that minimize the necessity of human intervention in their operation. So it is the use of computer and associated technology to revolutionize the meaning of libraries and redefine their existence as a computerized library information system. So in this particular session, we have discussed about library automation and the basics of library automation, its meaning, concepts, and some of the standard definitions. So before concluding that, we will make some concluding remarks. So in short, library automation consisting of the hardware, software, and the technology which are used to automate the libraries. So library automation is the general term for information and communication technologies that are used to replace manual systems in the library. Through library automation, all library daily tasks and services can be automated. The goal of the integrated library system involves the automation of all aspects of libraries' internal operations and to provide key services to library users. The future of automation is expected to bring further advancements which impact all the areas, and libraries are not exceptional in that way. Dear learners, before concluding this particular session, even if you are working in any of the type of libraries like academic library system, or even the special libraries, or research libraries, or even a small libraries like school libraries, the automation in the present scenario is very much welcome, and even it is very much necessitated that in order to provide a better services and activities to the users. In the coming sessions, we will be learning more about the other aspects of library automation, such as advantages and what are the things to be taken care before we going for making an automation process in the library, and so on. Thank you.